Welcome to Dr. Mensch, the radio show that takes a real, compassionate look at mental health from A to Z. Join child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Gil Lichtshein each week as we explore topics that matter: autism, ADHD, anxiety, depression, OCD, schizophrenia, behavioral challenges, neurodevelopmental disorders, and more. No stigma, no judgment. Just honest conversations, new therapies, breakthrough treatments, and real solutions for real people. Mental health is not a weakness. It's a treatable medical condition, and help is available. Join the conversation now by calling the studio at 888-994-4995, Studio A. This is Dr. Mensch, where hope and healing begin.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch. I'm a board-certified child, adolescent, adult psychiatrist. My office is in Boca Raton at 7100 West Camino Real, Suite 404. My phone number is 561-300-4052. And I'm live from beautiful, sunny Boca Raton, Florida, in a new year, first show of 2026. And today I have a special guest, Lindi Nunziato, who is a renowned fitness model and who's, I would say, maybe I'm being this a little underwhelming, but a media influencer. She has like a gajillion followers on Instagram, probably more than I'll ever have in 50 lifetimes. And so I'm honored to have her on as a guest. And so to promote kind of continuity of our conversation, I figured we'd go to a brief commercial break, and then when we come back, I'll start my interesting interview and conversations with Lindi.
What happens when the mind of a healer crosses over into the darkness of the human soul? From authors David Icovetti, Dr. Gil Lichtshein, and Yolanda DeLuca comes a chilling psychological thriller, Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil. This gripping novel follows a respected Boca Raton psychiatrist who secretly descends into madness, transforming into a modern-day king of the underworld. Inspired by true events and Dr. Gil's childhood connection to a mob family, this story blurs the line between sanity and evil, genius and destruction. Unforgettable, disturbing, impossible to put down. Get your copy today on Amazon.com. Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil, a 2020 psychological crime thriller. You're listening to Dr. Mensch with child and adolescent psychiatrist Dr. Gil Lichtshein. For a copy of his powerful new book, Dr. Mensch's Prescription for Evil, visit Amazon.com. For more information or to schedule a consultation, contact Dr. Gil directly at 561-300-4052 or visit docgil.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
Good afternoon once again. Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch here. I have Lindi, who's joining us on the phone from her home in Orlando, Florida. I just want to thank you for allowing me to interview you and accepting my invitation to be a guest. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. So, I'm just going to leave this very open-ended. So I, wanted a little bit of start of letting the audience know a little bit about who you are, what you are. If someone would ask, who's Lindi? How would you describe yourself?
I would say I am a fitness influencer online, and I am big on family and, being good to people and trying to always do the right thing.
Okay. Now, how did you get into fitness industry?
I was young and I just enjoyed going to the gym. And so I started competing after that. And once I started competing, that's how I grew my following online.
So at what age did you, start getting into fitness?
I started competing I got into fitness when I was around 18. I started competing when I was around 22.
And you've been doing that for quite some time.
Yeah, but I did it for quite a while. Yes.
And again, for people who may not be familiar with you, are you still actively, competing?
No, not anymore. I haven't competed in around 4 years.
Now, do you ever see yourself getting back into that?
It's always a possibility, but not right now.
Okay. So now,
I use
what?
the gym. I use the gym as more of like just like mental focus, decompression type of thing. I don't really regard it as something that I have to like a job or competing anymore. It's more of just for my mental health.
Now, when you were actively in fitness, did you view that as like your job or something you enjoy doing, combination of both, or something completely different?
Well, kind of a combination of both because ultimately that is what grew my following and allowed me to monetize myself. So it was a
Okay.
little bit of both. But once I stopped, I didn't regret it.
How come?
My mom had gotten breast cancer, and being a competitor, you have to be very selfish. And I just didn't want to be selfish anymore. I wanted more of my time.
Okay.
So
Now,
I decided to take a break, and the break turned into just not doing it again.
uh, now, if you ever got back into it, would it be difficult, or let's say compared to when you first started out, you know, 15 years ago, and
Well, I assume they look for maybe different things now, so that
okay,
might change a bit. Um, but I don't know. I kind of like having the freedom that I have now, and I think that's a big part of the reason that I don't know if I would do it again. That and it's really hard on your body, and I don't really want to put my body through that stress again.
and I would imagine that as we age, and you're not old by any stretch of the imagination, but I would imagine as we age, it's you know not the same. Let's say if you're 20 years old, and then somebody has been doing this, takes a break, and now let's say they're 45 or 50, that it's not the same
Yes,
when you age
exactly.
and you've been out of it for a while.
Yes, exactly. It'd be a
Okay.
lot. It'd probably be a lot harder for sure.
Okay. Now, also the other thing has the fitness industry changed, now compared to
I
when
feel
you
like it
first got
always
into it?
changes. Yeah, I feel like it always changes, and stays the same in certain ways, but they look for different things all the time, and the judging is just so arbitrary. It's you never know what it's gonna be.
Okay. So it's my understanding that you're from Florida. Um, what
Yes.
you know, and your parents still live in I'll say the Tampa, you know, I think north of Tampa. So, and you're not, you don't live that far away from them. So that's kind of good that you're, relatively close. And if your parents ever needed you, you can, hop in your car and really help them out. But how supportive were your parents of you, when you chose, what you did, or did your parents have
Oh,
growing up have other ideas
no,
for you?
they were very supportive. They came to all my shows, and they were always just proud of me.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
how did you get into being such a, major social media influencer? Where you have like some gajillion, bajillion
I think
followers.
I think I started my following at the right time. I feel like now everybody's kind of jumping on the bandwagon and wanting to be on social media. I think it was right place, right time type of thing, and I grew my following in a time that really benefited me, and I got really lucky. And I think that's a lot of it. And I'm very consistent. Everything that I do, I try to be as consistent as possible. And I think that's what sets me apart from most people.
Okay. What advice would you give to people out there who might want to, I don't say build an empire or necessarily, but that want to get out there in the world of social media and kind of expose their, brand or content or whatever, they have. Like, what advice would you give to, people nowadays and how to build a successful social media presence, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or what's some of the other Snapchat or
I would
whatever
just tell
other
them,
platforms?
I would tell them to be consistent and confident and to network. Networking is probably the best you can do, to get seen by more people and kind of, put yourself out there. And just do as much as you possibly can, do as much research as you can. And
Okay.
if you work hard, usually that's all it really takes.
Okay. Now you were saying now that you know, use, like, you go to the gym, more, not because you want to get back necessarily into the industry, but more as kind of like a way of decompressing and to help with your mental health. How do you find that helping your kind of mental state?
I just find that it's a good outlet. It's a good way to decompress, stress, worry, life, and it makes you feel good after. It's a lot of endorphins and dopamine, and it's just enjoyable.
Now, how often do you try to get to the gym each week?
I try to go every day with one complete rest day, so I would say 6 days a week.
Okay, and it's good that you have the time to do that,
Yes, I'm very thankful.
right? Because part of I guess the advantage of like now what you're saying, you're more into like the social media part is, it's not like this orthodox or standard 9 to 5 office-based job that you can kind of, you know, tailor your day to, I guess, your own needs, and you have the ability to make the time to go, let's say, go to the gym for whatever amount of time you need to on a daily basis. So I guess also, you're fortunate in that respect.
Yes, very fortunate.
Now, I also understand that, you've had some of your own kind of trials and tribulations as you've become famous and out there. And you could also be an influencer to, people. I understand you've had some issues with your thyroid, and so you've been dealing with this for now several years, and finally, you're kind of like on the path to like defeating this or beating this. So I don't know if you mind like telling without necessarily getting into all these details, but you could be a good like role model for especially women who are suffering from thyroid illness, which is more common than one thinks, and how to kind of navigate life and not let it defeat you. So I don't know how comfortable you are in divulging, but why don't you
For sure.
tell
No,
us like what you've gone through?
Yeah, it's been hard. I had Hashimoto's disease, and that's where your body attacks your thyroid and it makes it go slower essentially. And I was trying to get it regulated with meds, and my meds ended up, I don't know, my body kind of took a turn, and I ended up getting Graves' disease, which actually speeds up your metabolism or speeds up your thyroid, excuse me. And it just makes you crazy. It just puts you on high alert all the time, and it's terrible for you. I tried to get it regulated for months, and I couldn't. And so I was forced to get my thyroid taken out. I got it taken about 6 months ago now, and recovery has been difficult, but I'm finally trying to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But it's been a lot to deal with for sure.
I mean, I remember when you first told me. I'm going to go back several years ago, where I remember you had called me and were telling me about these kind of myriad of symptoms you were having, and it was kind of perplexing. And I remember saying, let's get your thyroid checked. And I mean, I'm not an endocrinologist, but I have enough medical training where I could see thyroid labs and saying, okay, something's a little off. You need to go see a specialist. And now finally, you got the right treatment, and hopefully, it looks like you're on the, road to recovery.
Yes, I am. I'm hoping so for sure. I'm hoping I'm done with it.
And also, you brought about like what the thyroid, impact has been on you. That too probably has, played a role or impact on, that would have been like an impediment or an obstacle. Like if you wanted to get back into, the fitness industry, when you're not feeling either physically or mentally 100%, I would imagine it would be kind of hard to be able to compete on a consistent basis where you have to be kind of like at the top of your game.
Yes, that's very true. Which is it's another reason that I'm kind of not wanting to do it again.
Okay. What impact do you think the thyroid, what you were dealing with without had on you kind of emotionally?
It was hell. It was pretty bad. Your thyroid controls, it's like the mother of all of your hormones. It's like the mother hormone. So it controls everything in your body, things that you don't even realize it controls. So when it goes haywire, it just messes your entire system up, and there's really nothing you can do about it.
What were some of the emotions you were kind of going through, over these past few years as you were trying, your doctors were trying to figure out what the hell's, pardon my language, but what the heck was going on, with your thyroid?
I mean, many different emotions: sadness, depression, worry, anguish, going back and forth from doctor to doctor to try and figure out what's wrong. I think I saw every doctor known to man to get my diagnosis. I mean, I went to neurologists, I got an MRI of my brain. I did so many different things. I went to a cardiologist because it involved my heart. Like, I just went through so many different things in order to figure out what was wrong with me. And then when I did finally figure out what was wrong with me, I couldn't get it regulated. So as I said, I was forced to take it out.
Do you have any regrets?
I guess I regret not being better to my body when I competed and I did those things. I think that it was very, very hard on me, and maybe that's what contributed to it. I'm not sure. I can't prove it. But health is definitely wealth, and you should put that above everything.
I agree with that. Both physical and mental health, yes, is important. And the thyroid, how it like comes into relations with me is like, yeah, whenever I evaluate, especially females who come into my office with significant levels of anxiety or depression, especially younger females, let's say in their 20s and 30s, and they're asking me, hey, put me on Lexapro or Prozac or Xanax because I'm a nervous wreck. A lot of times, I don't say a lot of, almost all the time, before I do that, I will always have, I will tell, my female patients who I see for the first time, tell them, I need to have your thyroid checked. I want to make sure that your thyroid is not out of whack because, like you said, yeah, overactive thyroid can make you highly anxious, and underactive thyroid can mimic depression, and thyroid illness is much more common in women than men. So anytime I see a 25, 30, 35-year-old woman with complaint of depression or anxiety, and it's their first experience, before I pull out my prescription pad for Lexapro, I'm writing lab work orders for get your thyroid. I mean, I would say other blood work, but I emphasize thyroid because it really has a real impact on your entire body. And you can speak from your own personal experience of what you've gone through over the past several years, and that the other thing too is that sometimes it could take quite some time to get that regulated. And how, like you were saying first, yeah, I remember I think when I first looked at your labs, I'm like, yeah, you might have Hashimoto's. And I remember that, yeah, when you told me how, yes, you were formerly, diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease, and then it progressed to Graves', which is, like you said, like almost like the opposite end of the spectrum. It's like how fragile and kind of unpredictable, thyroid illness is. And it gets to the point where in your case, you have to have your thyroid removed. I mean, that's the ultimate, like last resort. Now, it's like you can't go back because now you don't have a thyroid gland anymore. So it's not like, okay, if you're taking medication, you can kind of pull back and at least you still have your thyroid that can kind of perhaps self-regulate. You don't have that option anymore. So, but I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah, albeit it's been like 6-7 months since you had your thyroid removed, that you're slowly but surely stabilizing, and hopefully means you can kind of get back to the way you were before all this stuff was happening to you.
Yes, that's what I'm hoping for.
Now, while you were going through this, I mean, did you have the support of, family and friends?
Yeah, my parents were around, and I had some good friends for sure. But I don't think anybody really understands what you're dealing with when you're going through it, because they're not going through it. But they definitely tried their best to understand.
Okay. Now that you're, kind of slowly getting better, what are you doing now differently than you did before? Like, like I was saying, like, oh, maybe you'll get back to the way you were before your thyroid, went haywire. Like, what new things or old things are you trying to kind of get back in your repertoire that kind of went by the wayside when you were not doing so well, say, physically and emotionally?
I mean, I've always been pretty healthy, and my diet's always been pretty good. I don't smoke, do drugs. I really don't even drink much. So to say that I've changed a lot would be false, because
Okay.
I wasn't really doing much before to cause any more problems. Um, Unfortunately, you can't really control what your body wants to do, so I was kind of up against it, and I didn't really have a choice. But I'm just trying to be more health mindful and give myself grace and have a little bit more patience.
Now
That's
that
about it.
it's a new year, like, and you're on, getting on the road to recovery, how do you foresee 2026 for you?
Well, I'm hoping that it's the year everything changes around and I feel like my old self again. But I know it's still going to be like a little bit of a process. Nothing happens overnight.
That's true. So, like, what if you had like some goals, or I don't want to use the word resolutions, like goals or aspirations, you know, for 2026? What would they be?
I think it would just be to get it normal and to feel a little bit better. To not have any flares or symptoms come back, because that's kind of what you experience while you're healing. Is like you flare and you have symptoms that you had prior to getting your thyroid taken out while your system recalibrates. So I guess I would say that I would just hope to have less of those as time goes on and to travel more. I really want to travel this year and expand my business. I would say that those things are probably what I want for 2026.
Okay. And the other thing too is, you alluded to that, or maybe what you did to your body when you were active competing played a role in, developing your thyroid problems. We don't, you can't really say for a fact, but on the other hand, you could also say, hey, the fact that you were in good health and in shape perhaps also allowed you to manage through this. Just imagine if, let's say, you were totally out of shape beforehand and didn't care about your health, and then had to deal with this. That in its and the thyroid playing such a role in metabolism and weight. Just imagine, what greater impact it could have had on you if, let's say, you were not in the shape you were in when you went, when you started experiencing this. So, you could also look at the possibility that your background in fitness may have also been helpful too, while you also think it could have been, a cause. But, I like to say it also maybe helped because it kept you were in good shape and allowed you to kind of stay in the shape that you're in now in spite of all the problems your thyroid condition caused.
Yes, that's very true.
Okay. Well, I just want to, again, say that I appreciate you taking a little bit of your time today and in joining my show, and I really appreciate you, being open and honest and talking with me today. And I hope we could do this again.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
In the near future.
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, again, this is Dr. Gil Lichtshein, aka Dr. Mensch. I appreciate and want to thank everybody for listening to this show, and look forward to coming back next Monday. So I wish all a good evening and a good rest of the week. Thank you very much.
What happens when the mind of a healer crosses over into the darkness of the human soul? From authors David Icovetti, Dr. Gil Lichtshein, and Yolanda DeLuca comes a chilling psychological thriller, Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil. This gripping novel follows a respected Boca Raton psychiatrist who secretly descends into madness, transforming into a modern-day king of the underworld. Inspired by true events and Dr. Gil's childhood connection to a mob family, this story blurs the line between sanity and evil, genius and destruction. Unforgettable, disturbing, impossible to put down. Get your copy today on Amazon.com. Dr. Mensch, A Prescription for Evil, a 2020 psychological crime thriller. Thank you for joining us for Dr. Mensch with Dr. Gil Lichtshein, helping you navigate the world of mental health with clarity and care. If you or someone you love needs support, you're not alone. Treatment works and recovery is possible. To schedule a consultation or discuss non-medication therapies, personalized treatment plans, or psychiatric care, contact Dr. Gil directly at 561-300-4052 or visit docgil.com. You can catch us each week on South Florida Oldies Radio and streaming across all social platforms. Until next time.